It's over. It's fucking over. These are long as fuck for no reason. It's now time for my 2024 ranking video. Let's get started. So, I've got 65 movies to cover. It's not as many as last year. I did 69 last year for 2023 and 65 for 2024. But if you think about it, that's a lot of movies in 2 years of new releases. That's 134 new released movies in 2 years just in the horror genre that I've watched. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. But I had a blast doing it. Saw a bunch of good movies. Saw a bunch of bad movies. And we'll get into that. So, kicking it off with number 65 is Skeletons in the Closet. I know that I shouldn't have had any decent expectations for this movie, but you have Cuba Gooding Jr. and Terrence fucking Howard. And I don't even remember what the movie was about, in all honesty. I really don't. It was just this slow, stupid movie with terrible dialogue that wasn't shot very well. I do remember that. And I had a horrible time watching it. And then, dude, Hustle and Flow, love it. The original Iron Man, love it. I love Terrence Howard's older stuff. And Cuba Gooding Jr. used to be amazing. I didn't realize how bad his career had gotten, in all honesty. You know, you have Men of Honor, you have like Pearl Harbor, you have like Tuskegee Airmen, Radio, Jerry Maguire. I loved his role in American Horror Story. I don't understand what happened here. But this movie blows. I believe it's streaming on Shudder if you want to check it out. Moving on. And coming in at number 64 is Mickey's Mousetrap. If you've seen it, you already know. So with this movie, you have a Mickey Mouse inspired slasher movie with paranormal stuff going on as well. None of it's done very well. The acting is awful. I understand that this was, probably that it's an indie film, but probably just done by a bunch of friends trying to do something fun. Still, I didn't give Blood and Honey 1 a pass. I'm not giving Mickey's Mousetrap a pass. This movie is awful. Coming in at number 63 is a movie called Arena Wars. And I know I shouldn't have even watched it. I already knew it was going to be bad just from but the poster looked so cool for it. Like the people's costumes that they're wearing, the villains in this movie. But it's basically a futuristic, prisoners get to go and face these gladiatorial events to try to work their way out of prison. And it's basically the renaissance of the gladiators in the future. And it's not great. All right, coming in at number 62 is Sunrise. It's an all right, very slow paced vampire story. It's not a well made movie, but not a bad movie. Just not a good movie. I didn't enjoy it. I don't expect a lot of people will enjoy it. Coming in at number 61 is Departing Seniors. Um, high school slasher movie. Not really a lot to it. It was kind of boring. Not a great movie. We're going to get past the not great movies, guys. I promise. I promise. I promise. It's going to be a minute, though. It's going to be a minute. Coming in at number 60 is Laced. Kind of a revenge story. Spurned lover, revenged. It's all right. Like, I don't know. A lot of these movies at the bottom are just so. They're just movies. They're just there. People made them, and most people aren't going to see them. I am watching all of these movies because I'm trying to find those needles in the haystack. I want to find those little hidden gems that make you go home. I'm sure glad I didn't miss out on that. And then I want to let you guys know, hey, you got to check this out. Because you're missing out on it, man. You're missing out on something. You're not missing out on Laced. Sorry. And I just want to preface before going any further, like a lot of these movies are basically the same ranking. There's just little small stupid things that I can't even remember why I even ranked them the way I did at this point, because it's been so long and I just didn't care. So, and I'll let you know when we start getting out of this little rut that we're in of movies right now. Anyway, coming in at number 59 is History of Evil. This is a futuristic movie about a fascist regime, fascist religious Christian regime that has taken over the United States. And this is about basically the freedom fighters, or the people that are trying to get out of the country. And then, but it immediately starts that way, and then it shifts into a haunted house movie, like almost immediately. So all of that I just mentioned doesn't matter until the very end of the movie again, but it's, you put propaganda in a haunted house movie for what purpose? Just to make a propaganda movie, but you didn't want to fully commit to a propaganda movie, so you went for the haunted house angle inside of it. I don't understand. And here's the thing. I don't like talking about my political opinion on this channel, but if I'm on the same side as you and I see your movie as propaganda, there's a fucking issue. Stop. Coming in at number 58 is Night Swim. Blumhouse, you did not do us good this year, man. Y'all need some quality control for sure, up in your production studio. Anyway, Night Swim, it is about a haunted swimming pool and also a baseball. And not a good movie. Coming in at number 57 is Tarot. Blumhouse. Oh, Blumhouse. Can you give us something? My God. This movie was actually almost decent. It actually was. The way that it is shot, the characters, it had the potential to be decent. But this movie treats the audience like they're fucking idiots. Because she does the tarot reading at the beginning, and every time a ghost shows up, it retells you the entire reading so that you know what's gonna happen. Every single time. Unacceptable. Coming in at number 56, All my friends are dead. It's kind of a revenge story. Yeah, definitely a revenge story. Slasher film mixed with some Saw type points to it. The concept was really interesting. The execution fell quite a bit short. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. It's okay. It's better than everything else that I've just listed. So if you want to check this movie out, it's one of those movies that if you just got some time and nothing else to watch, maybe you throw it on and just see how you feel about it. Coming in at number 55 is Don't Turn Out the Lights. So this is about a group of friends going on an adventure to, I believe it's a concert, but they don't make it. They are in a RV. They get stuck in the woods. I mean, it's still on the road, but it's like in the middle of nowhere. And there's a bunch of like occult type stuff on the RV. I believe one of the characters took it from their uncle, and maybe he was like a demon hunter or a ghost hunter or something like that. And they summon some kind of evil entity that takes them out one at a time. And it's actually a pretty cool concept. It is still a very much an indie movie, but I think that some people will actually really enjoy this movie for what it is. I enjoyed pieces of it. Still, it wasn't quite up to par for me, but yeah, it's actually an okay movie. This is like popping up. It's a slightly better movie than everything else that we've just talked about. All right, coming in at number 54 is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. It's much better than the first movie. It's still a little rough around the edges. I need a little bit more out of it. There's something still missing. Maybe it's the level of acting that's in the movie. But there were the CG, the few parts that have CG and not practical effects in the movie were not good. But I did enjoy the practical effects in the movie. Some of the practical effects were fantastic. Yeah, I think there's a world in which this universe is good, or at least very enjoyable. It's just not there for me quite yet, but it is much better than the first movie. Coming in at number 53 is The Inheritance. This is a movie about a group of siblings with a billionaire father, and that father invites them back on his birthday because something or someone is coming to kill him, and they have to put their inheritance on the line to protect him. Make sure he does not die. And it just gets wild from there. It is supernatural in essence. And yeah, it was actually a fun movie. I don't think it's a good movie, but I actually enjoyed watching this film. I had a good time with it. I don't think everybody will. Like I said, it's not a good movie, but it was fun. Coming in at number 52 is Baghead. I was actually really excited for this movie when I saw the concept of it. There's a girl that inherits a tavern from her deceased father. And in the basement of the tavern is a hole in the wall, and there's a witch that can let you communicate with deceased loved ones. And it's just a really cool concept. she's got a bag on her head, and when you take the bag off, depending on the items that you have given her, she can let you communicate with the owner, the deceased owner of that item. How much of it is her and how much of it is actually the deceased person is up for debate, of course. But it is just a really cool supernatural story. I think the execution on this movie was just not quite up to snuff, just like most of the other movies that we've talked about previously. And um, it, it is a concept that deserved something a little better. Coming in at number 51 is Midnight Peepshow. So, this is actually a pretty decent, well-made movie. You're getting into the realm of being Saw-like or hostile, more hostile, I guess, but in an anthology type film. Um, and it's kind of interesting. It's a very interesting movie with some very disturbing ideas. I don't know. It might deserve a higher place than this. It might deserve a lower place than this. I'm not really sure. It is very jarring in some aspects. And then there was one of the shorts that's in it that the acting just wasn't great as well. So if you are easily rattled by SA and things of that nature, stay away. If not, maybe give it a chance and see what you think. Coming in at number 50 is Founders Day. In the same vein as something like Thanksgiving, we have another holiday slasher in Founders Day. It is actually a lot like Thanksgiving, and I really enjoyed this movie. It's not a very good movie, but I love slasher films, and whenever you get, I liked the look of the slasher villain in this, and then and it's more. This one is more comedic as well. So you have this comedy ingrained into a holiday slasher film, and it was actually really fun. It was a very fun movie for me. I do not think very many people are going to agree with me on this movie, and that's okay. Most of the other movies below this one are just not good either, so I don't think people are going to be too upset with my placement on here, but I did actually kind of enjoy this movie. All right. Coming in at number 49 is Vishar. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is about an Indian man who works for a scam call center, who has called this woman and is talking to her on the phone, but he has also hacked into her computer and is looking at her through the cameras that are installed in her house. And then supernatural stuff starts to occur. He is trying to scam her at the beginning, but then as the supernatural stuff starts to occur, he tries to rescue and save her. It is a very interesting concept for how low budget this movie was. It is actually very well made. I was very impressed with what they accomplished, with what little they had to work with, as opposed to how much like Night Swim and Tarot had to work with and didn't accomplish as much. But yeah, I think that people should give this movie a watch. I don't think that it's, mind-blowing or amazing. It is just a well-made movie for such a low-budget film. Next up, we have Apartment 7A. This is the prequel to Rosemary's Baby. And just like the original, this movie is so boring to me. So god-awful boring to me. But The acting is phenomenal. And the production value is amazing. It's top notch. So if you could just make a not boring film, I could put you higher on my list. Because everything else about the movie is actually just really well done. Number 47 is Time Cut. Time travel slasher movie that was okay. It was fun watch. Should have been a lot better. Could have been a lot better. Just remember, folks, this is only, 47? This is only 47. We have 46 more movies to go. Coming in at number 46 is The Deliverance. This movie should not be this low. This started off as one of the greatest, dramatic, heart-grabbing movies that I've seen in a very, very long time. This movie, spoke to me in the beginning. I, was entranced by this movie. I was in it for the long haul. And then in the back end of the movie, you're just going to throw some of the dumbest dialogue, some of the dumbest decision making, some of the most ridiculous plot lines, some of the stupidest CG effects, and just completely ruin my good time. I was so angry at the end of this movie because of how good the movie started. In the beginning of the movie, I was like, damn, this movie is going to win so many goddamn awards. Or it should have. And by the end of the movie, I was throwing shit at the fucking TV screen. Coming in at number 45 is The Seeding. This is a pretty interesting concept. It's about a person that goes off into a desert wilderness. I don't remember where exactly they are. Maybe Arizona, New Mexico, or something like that. And gets caught by a group of people that live out in the wilderness, and they keep him as kind of a pet. I don't remember all the details about this movie, to be honest with you. This movie came out pretty early in the year, and I watched it the one time and haven't gone back since. I do remember kind of enjoying the movie, but also being kind of bored through some of it. So, take it how you will. Coming in at number 44 is Immaculate. So this is where we actually get to the movies that I enjoyed more than I didn't enjoy. So the majority of the movie was enjoyable, and I didn't hate the parts that I didn't enjoy. And Immaculate was kind of that. It's basically, it's about the birth of the Antichrist. It's just one of those movies that is done decently, but not the best of its kind. Coming in at number 43 is Stream. I loved the concept of this movie, of having people trapped inside of a hotel and in a unknowing online game show of killers trying to come after them and kill them all one at a time and see who lives. Very interesting concept. Loved all of the costume designs for the killers in this. I love the casting for this movie. The cast is phenomenal. I just think that for as much as it had going for it, there were parts that still felt too cheap. And I do know that I understand that it's still an indie film, but with as much talent and energy that was kind of behind this project, I was kind of hoping for just a little bit more. Just the execution. Again, execution is everything. Execution is everything. You could have the dumbest idea in the world. It's happened. It's happened plenty of times. Bad ideas with good execution are better than good ideas with bad execution. It just is. Coming in at number 42 is Last Night at Terrace Lanes. This is a ridiculous movie that I actually thoroughly enjoyed. This is what you had. What I was just talking about, bad ideas with good execution. Bro. Okay, so this movie is about a bowling alley and cultists that are trying to summon either their overlord, or they're trying to get into their paradise, their version of paradise. It's one of those two things. I cannot remember for the life of me which one it is, and I'm too lazy to look it up. But you have this group of cultists come in and just start slaughtering everybody in the bowling alley. And it's just a good, fun, ridiculous, bloody time. And you can tell that every single person on set, every single person, is just having a blast. You can just tell. Coming in at number 41 is In a Violent Nature. Basically, just Friday the 13th from Jason's perspective the entire time. Not a huge fan of Friday the 13th, wasn't a huge fan of this movie, but I do appreciate what they were trying to accomplish with this film. I think if you're going to do a type of film like this that's from the villain's perspective the entire time, you probably should do it with a type of villain that's more entertaining. Because it gets very dull very quickly at parts. There were parts that I did enjoy. Some of the kills were fantastic. The scenery was gorgeous. But as an experimental film, I'm boosting it because I enjoy that they tried something different. Maybe they can boost the engagement with the film just a little bit more by not having a walking simulator for such a large portion of the film. And I get that that's what Jason does, is walk. But there just needs to be more going on. Coming in at number 40 is The Exorcism. Another movie where we have Russell Crowe playing a Catholic priest. This one is about he was an actor for basically The Exorcist, and is making another Exorcist film, and supernatural stuff starts to occur. And it's actually it's a very interesting concept. The execution was almost correct. I'd say that it's an okay movie. It's slightly better than okay movie. Yeah. There's really nothing inherently wrong with the film. It just doesn't have the it factor. We'll talk about the it factor later, though, of course. Everybody knows. Coming in at number 39 is Azrael. This is an interesting film. There's very little dialogue in this film. but it is a post-apocalypse and religious, like Christian religious apocalypse film, where the damned have pretty much taken over the world, and the people that were left behind after the rapture are running for their lives constantly from these zombie demon type creatures, which they were really cool looking and interesting. I found the movie to be almost good. I don't know what it's really missing, like completely missing, to make it better. Um, maybe dialogue. I don't know. There is some dialogue in the movie. It's not completely silent the entire time, but they are silent for the majority of the movie, and it's mostly about the atmosphere. Um, I don't know. It was. You should watch it. You should watch it. I think that it will be a mixed bag for a lot of people, but it is a very well made movie. Coming in at number 38 is The Watchers. This movie was directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Ishana Shyamalan, and it is about Irish folklore, kind of, where these people get trapped. They go into a forest and basically get trapped by fairies in this ever expanding forest that kind of wraps in on itself and you can't escape from. And if you're outside of the safe room at night, you will be killed. As long as you're inside the safe room, you're good. Very, very cool concept. Execution was not bad. I feel like this movie got a little more hate than it deserved, and I think that comes from who directed the movie more than what the movie actually was. I think people were expecting too much out of a first-time feature film director. For her first film, I'd say it's a very solid film. I had no major issues with it. It just wasn't really my cup of tea. Coming in at number 37 is Stopmotion. Now we're getting to the movies that I actually really did enjoy. Not loved. Don't take it that way. We have not yet made it to the movies that I loved yet, but these are movies that I truly did enjoy. So for stop motion, what this is about is a young woman who lives with her mom. Her mom is a famous stop motion director for stop motion films, and she wants to do her own stop motion. And she has like sleep paralysis and things of that nature, and sees the claymation characters coming to life. And it's just a really wild, trippy ride through this movie. It is very well done. For an indie film, it is very well done. I actually highly recommend this movie. It is a little boring. So if you're like me and you get bored very easily, just going to this movie knowing that you might get bored. Coming in at number 36 is Daddy's Head. This is about a young boy whose father has recently married, and then unfortunately the father passes away, and the new stepmother is left trying to decide whether she wants to take care of her new stepchild or not and become an actual parent. And through this, there is an alien life form that starts taking the shape and the voice of the father and is screwing with the perception of both of these characters and kind of making them think they're going insane and trying to steal away the child. It is a very, very interesting concept of a movie, a very well done movie. Um, and I did, I did enjoy the ending. I will say that. I'm not going to spoil anything, but um, I don't think this again is going to be everybody's cup of tea. It is definitely, it definitely still has some issues. Coming in at number 35 is Bagman. This was an interesting movie. It is about a supernatural being that is uh, that likes to kidnap children and stuff them in his bag. I don't know. It was a wild movie. There were parts that are not done very well at all, but then there's other parts that was just like, yeah, I want to see more of what's going to happen. Like this is really interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It's not a good movie. It's really not. But I actually really enjoyed it. Um I don't know if anybody else will enjoy it the same way that I did, but I'd say give it a shot if you like um you know, something in the line of like, I don't know, the only thing that keeps popping in my head is Jeepers Creepers, but I don't think it's like Jeepers Creepers so much as maybe like Nightmare on Elm Street mixed with Jeepers Creepers in a way. Like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I can't think of anything that it's like immediately in my head, but just think of supernatural being that kidnaps children, and but the parents are very aware of it and are actively trying to fight against it the entire time. So, um yeah, there you go. Coming in at number 34 is Afraid. And this is a Blumhouse movie as well. It is better than the other two, but it's still not like it is. It's kind of horror. So, anyway, what it's about is a home AI that is slowly becoming more and more malevolent. Is that the right word? Malevolent? Yes. Um, Getting kind of like this evil side to it. It's extending its influence and actually like harming people, and in some cases killing people. And the family is slowly starting to realize this. And then the ending is a big shit. So it's actually a pretty decent movie. Wouldn't call it so much horror as a lot of other movies on this list, but it does have those horror moments to it. Coming in at number 33 is Werewolves. This this is basically just the purge, but almost everybody turns into a werewolf, and it is absolutely ridiculous in the best ways. It is not a good movie. Some of the practical effects are actually pretty well, but they mix that with some CG effects that sometimes are not done very well. And I yeah, kind of liked this movie even if it was dumb. Coming in at number 32 is You'll Never Find Me. I don't want to say too much about this movie because it could give things away. It is a very good, well-made film. Very interesting film. We are to the point now that I'm not these are not movies that I quite absolutely love yet, but these are the ones that I really really like. This one is a very well-made movie, very good movie. I don't want to go into spoilers about it. Let's just say, okay, it is storming extremely bad. In this young woman knocks on the door of this person's house. They let her in to get out of the storm, and she's basically just seeking shelter until she can get help, because I believe that her vehicle broke down. And it goes from there. Coming in at number 31 is Black Cab. This movie is, I love Nick Frost. This is about a cab driver that doesn't give a damn. It has supernatural elements to it, and the last third of this movie, good luck on figuring out what the hell is going on. But other than that, it's a really damn good movie. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. Coming in at number 30 is Lovely, Dark, and Deep. If you wanted to see a movie made, and if you ever wondered what a movie made by a photographer would look like, not a videographer, a photographer. These are not still images, but holy shit. The entire movie is shot so absolutely gorgeous. Every shot of this movie is just amazing to look at. I thought I was watching National Geographic half the damn time. But anyway, what this is about is a forest ranger. She goes to this forest where a bunch of people always go missing every year. Her sister, when she was a kid, went missing in this forest as well. And she is trying to find out if she can figure out what happened to her sister when she was a kid, because she kind of blames herself. She thinks that her parents blame her as well. And now that she's an adult, she wants to figure it out. And it gets very trippy going through this movie. Yeah, it was, there were moments of this movie that were just absolutely batshit crazy, but it is a absolutely gorgeous movie. Coming in at number 29 is I Saw the TV Glow. This is a very, very well made movie, very well acted movie. It is about the societal ramifications on what trans people go through when they feel like they have to be someone that they don't want to be. When they feel like they have to pretend and adhere to the structure that society wants them to. And it does that through the lens of this this children's TV show that, of course, when the main character is a child, they see it as this really epic, like pretty dark adventure story. And then by the time that they become an adult, they see it as this very childish, very childish story. And this movie is going to be a lot higher on a lot of people's lists. And I know it's going to be a lot lower on a lot of people's lists because of the nature of the content. But it is still a fantastic movie. It just wasn't made for me. Coming in at number 28 is The Devil's Bath. This movie is wild. It is based on, I believe, Austrian, ancient, medieval Austria or medieval Germany. I cannot remember which one. But during that time, women during that time would sometimes commit extremely terrible acts of violence to get themselves executed, because that was better than committing suicide. So it's a very just wild movie. It's a very interesting look at 1700s Europe and um, giving a darker look at the history of it. Coming in at number 27 is Exhuma. This is a Korean supernatural film that is really, really good. If you love Korean horror movies, you're going to love this movie. It's about basically exorcists, and they're trying to get rid of these ghosts. And the ghosts are absolutely wild, like flying in the air as a giant fireball and then crash landing. It's crazy. Coming in at number 26 is Oddity. This movie is about a woman whose sister was murdered, and the one that is still surviving is blind, but has supernatural abilities to figure out the truth of things. So, very good movie with some freaky parts and some tricks and some turns. And yeah, I do highly recommend Oddity if you haven't seen it. Coming in at number 25 is Carved. This is about a mutant pumpkin that goes on a killing spree during a festival and starts murdering a bunch of people. And it's wild, ridiculous, and a bunch of fun. Go watch Carved. Absolutely. It is a great movie. Coming in at number 24 is Humane. So this is another movie about a bunch of siblings, and what happens is they get caught in a futuristic world where the population of humanity has gotten to be too much, and they're wanting volunteers to come forward and basically let the government take them out willingly. And so the father and the stepmother bring the family together to let them know that they themselves are putting themselves forward as candidates. And unfortunately, when the crew gets there to take both the father and the stepmother has run away, and the father gets put down. And right after, the company turns and they're like, we need 2 bodies, so it's got to be one of you. If she's not here, we don't care who it is, it's got to be one of you. And then the siblings have to fight amongst themselves to figure out who the company is going to take and give them their second body. So this is one of the Cronenberg family members. It is the daughter, Caitlin Cronenberg. And yeah, you can tell that there is definitely that Cronenberg influence on the film. It is a very, very good movie. Coming in at number 23 is The First Omen. This is probably one of my, besides the original Omen, this is probably the only other Omen film that I actually do like. And it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I was shocked at how good this movie was. It's got its wild moments too, but yeah, it's a solid Omen film. Absolutely. Coming in at number 22 is Salem's Lot. I have not seen the original Salem's Lot. I know. I have not seen it though. But I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It had some fantastic parts. I loved how the vampires, how they're designed. It has some really just interesting shots that happen in this movie. Like people just get taken out of nowhere, like when you're least expecting it sometimes. It's just fantastic. Had a great time watching this movie. Very solid vampire film. Coming in at number 21 is Arcadian. Nicolas Cage does some wild, weird ass movies nowadays, but this is another post apocalyptic movie. We got a ton of post apocalyptic movies this year. But there's these weird creatures that can mesh together into like wheels and like roll around together, and it's some weird stuff. But they can like they have like extendable appendages that can reach extremely long distances and be very thin and stuff, and it's just a very strange, crazy movie. It's more of, I would put it in the same vein as like a zombie movie. It feels like a zombie film. But yeah, it's Nick Cage doing Nick Cage stuff, and it's great. Coming in at number 20, and this is where we get to the movies that I love. All 20, my top 20 for this year. I loved every single one of them. Now, of course, those probably like top 5 I absolutely love, but I love all 20 of these movies. So coming in at number 20 is Trap. M. Night Shyamalan got away from having a twist. That's the twist. Imagine that. And it worked out extremely well. This is a fantastic movie. I absolutely loved every moment of it. Josh Hartnett is just an amazing actor. His character as this psychopath serial killer is just on point. And you should do yourself a favor and go watch this movie. Coming in at number 19 is It's What's Inside. This is a party game movie. This is about a group of friends getting back together after years apart, and they have this big party, and one of them brings this game that they have created that lets you transfer your consciousness into somebody else's body. And as you can imagine, shit gets weird. And it is fantastic. I was shocked at how good this movie was. I was expecting this movie to be complete dog shit. But after I started watching it, I was like, damn, I actually really enjoy this. Coming in at number 18 is Destroy All Neighbors. Another fantastic film that has some really great practical effects in it. And gives you that same vibe as like Evil Dead. Just this wacky, very flavorful movie about this guy that just all he wants to do is make his prog rock record. That's all he wants to do. He just wants to make music and bring music to people's lives, but it just keeps going wrong. Everything keeps going wrong, and it gets more wild and more wild as it goes. Amazing film. You should give it a watch. Coming in at number 17 is Sting. This is about a young girl who finds an alien spider, and that spider grows and grows and grows into a monstrous beast and starts killing and killing and killing. It has drama, it has comedy, it has the same feel to it as something like Gremlins, and I was there for it. Absolutely. It's been so long since we've had like a Gremlins type movie that I was super happy with this movie. Coming in at number 16 is Cuckoo. I can't really tell you too much about this film without giving away the plot, but A a young girl goes to stay with her father after her mother dies, and her father and his family are taking up residence in this new community, and some wacky, wild, like more sci-fi horror. It's more geared towards like a sci-fi horror movie, and it is a fantastic film, and with some very interesting ideas. Coming in at number 15 is Late Night with the Devil. I loved every moment of this movie. The acting was amazing. The way that the story progresses is just fantastic. If you have not seen this film, you should definitely see this film. This is a cult classic in the making, or just a classic in the making. This is should be beloved and in every collection. It is just a fantastic movie. Coming in at number 14 is Maxxxine. Before anything else, I just have to say I love this movie. But it is the weakest of the X trilogy. X and Pearl were so good that I was disappointed when I saw this movie, which is wild because it is such a good movie. I've rewatched it since and I still love it, but Ty West did such a phenomenal job with the first two films and creating this new world and this new character, these new characters, that I was disappointed with this movie. And it was mainly the end. The ending was just like, come on, really? Like I hated the ending of the movie, but the rest of it was so good. Coming in at number 13 is Things Will Be Different. This is about some thieves that somehow have some friends that can put them that have a house, that inside that house is a mechanism that can place them inside of a pocket dimension of time. So a point in time that has been stopped. So while they're running from the law, they go and they hide inside this pocket dimension. And while they're there, they get communications from another group that is telling them, if you want us to let you out of here, you're going to have to kill this person. And this, you don't know when they're going to show up, but they're going to show up inside the pocket dimension and you need to kill them. And that's the plot. And it is absolutely fantastic. I love this movie. I love the way that it ends and how they deal with sending information back and forth between the past, present, and the future, or the past, the future, and the pocket dimension of time. And it's absolutely fantastic. Coming in at number 12 is Hold Your Breath. And this is a very amazing movie. Punch you in the gut movie. That is based on a time in which parts of like Oklahoma had completely become like dust bowls, and you couldn't grow anything there, and it was super unsafe to live in these areas with all the dust and sand going everywhere, and it killed a bunch of people and drove a lot of people mad. And that is what the plot of this movie is, and it is such a good movie. The acting is phenomenal. Yeah, I highly recommend. Coming in at number 11 is Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Not as good as the original, but still a damn good movie. If you don't know what Beetlejuice is, I don't even know why you're here, man. Coming in at number 10 is Lisa Frankenstein. I was very pleasantly surprised with this movie. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed the characterization of the main character and just her slow decline into psychopathy. Like this love story, but it's also a story of tragedy, but funny throughout the whole thing, and it's just a really well made movie. I really love it. Coming in at number 9 is VHS Beyond. Best VHS movie ever made. One of the best found footage movies ever made. If they go forward making the VHS franchise as good as this, I will be ecstatic because it has become a yearly release. So now I'm pumped. I hope that they release another one in 2025. I hope they do. And I hope it's just as good as this one. It is fantastic. There was only one of the shorts that I was just kind of like about, and it was the furry one. But it just didn't resonate with me. But the rest of them, every single goddamn one of them, I was absolutely in love with. So good. Coming in at number 8 is Alien Romulus. In my opinion, the best alien movie ever made. And I'm going to leave it at that. So it takes place between Alien and Aliens. I'm going to leave it at that because I know that I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying that. Anyway, coming in at number 7 is Lowlifes. This is a hidden gem movie. I don't see anybody talking about it. I don't see anybody watching it. It is a movie that takes an idea and turns it on its head. It is so good, very well acted for an indie film. So watch out for this movie. Go watch it. It is definitely a hidden gem of 2024. I don't know why more people aren't talking about it. Coming in at number 6 is Longlegs. Nick Cage doing his Nick Cage stuff, being a serial killer, and taking us down this wild, bumpy ride of craziness. It's so good. Oh, this is so good. Now getting into my top 5. Coming in at number 5 is Mr. Crocket. This is a slasher movie in the realm of Nightmare on Elm Street. It is about a slasher villain that comes out of the TV and kills parents that are treating their children poorly. And he does it in wacky and wild ways. And it's and the performance for Mr. Crocket sells this whole movie. Without him, you wouldn't have a movie. But with him, we have a possible franchise, people. Holy shit. I love Mr. Crocket. You should watch it. There's another hidden gem for you. Not enough people are talking about this movie. Go watch Mr. Crocket. Coming in at number 4 is Terrifier 3. I still prefer Terrifier 2. Okay? But Terrifier 3 is absolutely bloody, disgusting, and wild, and everything that I love about the horror genre. Coming in at number 3 is Abigail. One of the best vampire movies I have ever seen. Bloody, funny, crazy. Give me more. Coming in at number 2 is The Substance. Just watch the movie. I'm not going to explain anything about the movie to you. You shouldn't watch anything about the movie. Just know that it is disturbing, kind of disgusting, and a whole fucking load of fun. Coming in at number 1 is Heretic. This movie is so good. The performances in this film are just absolutely amazing. Such a good movie. It's not going to be this high on the list for a lot of people, but for somebody like me who enjoys the philosophical discussion of religion and just that debate, this was a movie for me. And I think it's going to be a movie for a lot of people. It does not take one side or the other when it comes to the argument of religion, but it does make arguments. Ooh, and they are so fun to sit and listen to and discuss and think about, ponder, and just live in this world. And it got me this movie got me a couple times on like what was real, what was not. And I really liked that part of it. But yeah, so that is my 65 movies, my 65 horror movies that I watched that released in 2025. There are quite a few missing. I know people are going to say something about that. That's fine. I was not able to see Nosferatu, unfortunately. That was one of the big ones. Y2K was another one that I had not been able to see. I chose not to see The Strangers. I chose not to see A Quiet Place Day 1, not because I think that they're bad. I just have not seen the first 2 movies, and I didn't want to see the third one, even though it's a prequel, without seeing the other 2 first. So I just didn't have the time to get around to that one. But on some of the other movies, I just chose not to see them. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you would be so kind, please leave a like, please leave a comment, and if you really enjoyed it, please subscribe. If you hated every second of this, that is okay. You can leave a dislike, you can leave a hateful comment, and you can go about your business. It's all love, man. Anyway, y'all have a good night, and I'll see you next time.